Welcome to Live the Final Third with Stephen Kilbreath. More life, more stories, and more ahead. Through hopeful, honest conversations, we'll talk with people turning experience into purpose, connection, and impact. These are real stories from real people creating real momentum. Live the Final Third shines a light on people using experience, curiosity, and heart to make a difference in this season of life, including some familiar voices from Stephen's years in the media business. Because the Final Third might just be the best one yet.
You know, I always say, thanks, Tracy, when we hear the intro. And today, Tracy's actually going to be sitting in this chair. How cool is that? That Tracy Taylor is going to be here. I've known Tracy for a long time. And she's been a great advocate of mine throughout my career as we both have that reciprocal kind of relationship. We've definitely been friends for so long, one of my best friends, and I appreciate her coming in to talk about the radio career, the elected official career, all of the things that are going on in her life and kind of hear her story. That's coming up. What's interesting is I was talking to Trevor and some friends of mine about the Live the Final Third and kind of why we removed the dates from it was because, you know, it's not necessarily, ages, and it's not an age range. It's a stage of life that you're in Live the Final Third. It's like, you know, it's time to really grab life by the horns and say, this is what I want out of my life. And that's what we're doing. And as Trevor just did off camera, we're doing it like that. I grab horns like maybe up here, but wherever Trevor wants to grab them, that's totally fine. And that's great. This is why we are here, because we're having a lot of fun. And Trevor, you know, we appreciate Trevor doing all the work that he's doing behind the scenes with the 3-camera setup, the lights, the mics, all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate that. Always, this is at least for now, it's free of any sort of subscription. But if you would like to help us out, you can. I'm not going to take any money from it, so it's not like you're giving me money, but I will pass it along to Trevor and help pay for some of the cost to put things on. So we appreciate it if you can hit the donate button and help Trevor out and help our team out that's behind the scenes for the podcast. So Live the Final Third, more life, more stories, more ahead, and it's honest conversations where people are turning their life experiences into purpose, connection, and impact. So again, today, Tracy's here with me. Always a pleasure to be hanging out with Tracy. Hope you enjoy the conversation. Oh my gosh, how cool. The voice of Live the Final Third is here as well.
Stop it.
No, well, thank you for doing that, by the way. And for free. So that was awesome.
True, yes.
Yeah. But, how many takes did that take you? You're a one-take wonder, though, aren't you?
No. Since retiring from media, it takes me a little bit longer now, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But you were a one-take wonder, though, don't you think?
Usually.
I think that was, and that's something that I think we've talked about with other people, that you're born with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't necessarily think I was born with it. I think I had the proper training for that. But then once I finally got that, then it just took off from there.
Did you know growing up that you wanted to be in media?
You know, honestly, growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh, really?
So yeah, my love for animal and animal welfare sticks, and it just reigns true from the time I was 2, from our first dog, to where I'm at now. I'm involved with a lot of different animal organizations. We are a rescue family for dogs, hence the reason why I have so many of them.
How many do you have now?
We have 5.
5. Wow, that's great. That's a full house.
It is a full house, but they're all fostered. We fostered them in our homes, and then we just fell in love with them, right? You know, they came from really grueling circumstances, puppy mills, abandoned, on the street, left for dead on a couple of different occasions. And I, with the heart that I have for animal and animal welfare, I just couldn't let that happen.
Where did that come from, do you think?
Oh, I think it was just my parents, really. I mean, they loved animals. We were surrounded with animals all of our childhood. So between cats, birds, dogs, everything, lizards at times, fish, we had it all.
Were you ever on a farm or anything like that, or is it only like domestic animals?
No, I mean, my grandparents had farming in Idaho, right? And so during the summer, when you're a kid, your parents want a little time, right? They want a little break from being a parent, and then they farm you, no pun intended, they farm you out to the grandparents. And then you spend a couple of weeks with the grandparents, depending on what it is you do. my grandparents had a very large farm in Idaho. We had chickens, we had horses, we had cows. And I learned farming from them. That's how my mom grew up. So she's like, well, why not learn? And so I just fell in love with it. I loved it.
Where did you grow up?
Gosh, everywhere. So essentially, we started our lives in Washington, and then we moved every 2 years. My dad was a employee for Snap-on Tools, and then he kind of worked his way up through the ranks, became a regional manager, and then a district manager, and then he became branch managers. And so we went from Washington, Idaho, California, Colorado, Oklahoma, Alaska. Yeah. So
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that like growing up where you're, I mean, I didn't have that experience. I was in the same house
Sure.
my whole life. So how does that, how do you think that affects your life now and growing up? You don't know any better, right? So, but how does that like affect friendships or things like that?
I didn't have a lot of friends growing up just because I knew every 2 years I didn't want to be attached to them. So every 2 years we would move. And
So you just kind of got used to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you fall in line with it. It's just like, okay, well, you have your friends at school, but I never had sleepovers because I'm like, I don't want to engage or if not get myself deeply involved in a person or invested in a person when I know that I'm going to lose them in a couple of years, right? So it was easy for me to disassociate, quickly and then move on to a new city and then quickly make friends and then do it all over again. I mean, we came to a point where we were in high school and my parents were making the decision whether or not they wanted to stay in the States. My dad had an opportunity to go to France. Snap-on was looking to, franchise there in Paris. And so there was that decision as a family if we were going to pick up and move. And so I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was fine. At the time, I was like 13, 14 years old. I'm like, well, I don't know any better. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead. But
And
we never did.
You never did?
No.
Yeah. And you didn't know French probably.
We had a tutor.
Oh,
my dad was.
you were already getting ready.
Yeah, my dad had hired a tutor and he would come after school and we would do 3 or 4 hours with the tutor to learn French because French children are way more advanced and way more schooled, and their education is completely different
Right.
from what we experience here in the States. So we were far behind in that case.
And then so growing up and moving all around, where did you end up though? Like graduating from high school? Yeah.
So my parents separated and divorced, and my mom moved us to Washington State. And so it was 3 kids, 3 bikes, her 4 suitcases, and a little Chevy S10 Blazer, and we blazed trails from Oklahoma City to Spokane, Washington. And we, planted roots there. And I got enrolled in middle school, got a job, and graduated high school in Spokane.
What job were you doing?
Oh, gosh, all of them? No, I worked all kinds of different odd jobs. When it was a single mom trying to keep a roof over her head for 3 kids and barely getting by, right? I mean, she would take every job that she could get. So I had to maintain care for my brother and sister. So there was that. But then the days that she didn't work, I would go and work. So it was Little Caesars, or it was like the movie, like Blockbuster Video and stuff like that. So, but I stopped doing a lot of the different odd jobs and stayed at Little Caesars because we didn't get a lot of money for food, right? And so I could come home every night and have pizza. And so we would have pizza consistently.
Actually, pizza.
Yes, pizza. The pan pizza is still very good.
Yeah. Do you still, like you're a fan of Little Caesars still even after working there?
Oh,
Yeah. I think that's the problem when you're working in restaurants.
Yeah.
You kind of get a little jaded.
It's not necessarily jaded. It's just like you just don't have that taste for that anymore. Right. Yeah. And so, and plus, everything that goes into it, right? The sauce, the crust, all of the things. But I ate so much of it growing up that I just don't even like pizza anymore.
And it's that upbringing, seeing what your mom was doing and all of that probably gives you the attitude that you've had the rest of your life, or since I've known you, almost 25, 30
years.
I didn't want to say that, but it's been about that long. that attitude of, we're just going to go in and get it done. We're going to handle this.
Yeah. And I think watching her was one of, I think, the greatest moments of my life, right? She showed me what work ethic is. And if you ever want anything, you have to work for it. It just doesn't come to you. And to this day, I instill that not only in myself, but my nieces and nephews, my daughter. It's like, you have to work for it.
Do you think that attitude has gone away, like with younger generations?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And why do you think that is?
I think it's more of like, as a parent now, you want what's better for your child, right? So you don't want to have them work as hard as you did. But for me, what kind of a lesson is that? You know what I mean? It's like, you really, grades especially, it's like, it doesn't come that easy. You actually have to do the study. You have to, and I can correlate that with my current career, right? I have to work really, really hard to be able to represent myself and my city in the best light possible. I don't want to come and show up unprepared or have that feeling of entitlement that I deserve this. It's not even that.
I think the parents of people, I know we're not the same age, but in the Gen X or whatever, you're like young Gen X, but I think parents of this generation, they look at the kids and they're like, you're right. We want you to have a better life. We don't want you to go out and just come back when the light turns off, and we don't want you drinking out of the hose and all of that kind of stuff. And so we're pushing them into that way, and that's probably why that ethic has gone away, is because of that. But I also think that we want I think people want them to be friends now instead of parents.
Yeah, I think so. I think every situation is different, right? I see girlfriends now who have super tight relationships with their children because they had a more of a friendship, kind of a way of growing up. And that I don't know. Sometimes it works. It just depends. I pride myself on the way that I have my relationship with my bonus daughter, right? We have a friendship, but we also have that understanding of each other where it's like, no, but I'm your bonus mom. Yeah. I've already lived this. I already have experienced this. Please,
We have this debate in the house all the time of who had it worse growing up, us or them. And for a lot of different things, I am the outlier. I think they do. Nowadays, most people our age think it was us, but I think they do because of social media, because of pressures, because of grades, and because of you have to win, you have to do all of that kind of stuff. And so I think that there is a little bit of pressure on that. What do you think of that? Do you think that?
No, I won't disagree with you. I think the pressures, like, we did not have cell phones in high school, right? We did not have those until I think even after we graduated is when they really started to kind of take off. But the fact that people could take videos and pictures of you and exploit you in any way, shape, and form, the bullying now is so vile to what it was when we were younger too. I'm like, I can't believe some of the things that were said to my daughter at times. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. So when you are growing up and you're moving all around, was there one place that stuck out? I know you ended up in Washington, but of the other places that stuck out, like, this is pretty cool, this was a cool spot, or this was my favorite one of the stops?
I don't know if I have a favorite one. I have some memories from each one. Like from some pretty gnarly snowstorms in Denver when I was like 5-6 years old and my sister was just born, to running away from home when I was when we lived in Alaska, and it didn't go very far, but I ended up in a neighbor's garage, and the fact that moose would come up to your front door and look in your windows, and Oklahoma was living through tornadoes and whatnot too. I have memories, but as for one that specifically sticks out, I think I would probably refer back to Oklahoma. Those are the real friendships that I've had. Those were the ones that really, really hurt when I actually had to separate. Because when we moved to Oklahoma, I was under the impression that that's where we were going to stay, but I had no idea that things were deteriorating in my parents' marriage, right? And so I got home from school one day and there's a suitcase packed and my mom's like, we're leaving. So that's what it
You know,
was.
it's interesting. I think I did not realize there was, I mean, looking back, you could probably see things in your parents' marriage or whatever, but it's like growing up, that's just what it was, right? You didn't know any better and all of that. But thankfully we have therapy now to unpack it all and tell us how wrong we were. So how did you get into the radio business?
Oh gosh, I fell into that, to be honest with you. It was I was in college, and I needed
Where were you at college?
North Idaho College, and I needed I needed an internship for credit for a class, and so I was like, all right, let's see what media does. I was so fascinated because in high school, one of my big senior projects were I interviewed the afternoon DJ, who I became very close friends with even in the course of my career. And then I interviewed three women news anchors because I was interested in both TV and radio. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to take that career path, but essentially that's what had happened. And so when I was interviewing with the afternoon DJ, I'm like, I need an internship. What do you suggest? And he's like, you can come intern for us. And I'm like, okay, sure. So, and I started, and it wasn't even on the air. It was in promotions. And so if anybody knows anything about radio promotions, it's driving the van, lugging the tents, setting up the remote broadcast, like all of the grunt work, stuff that you would get dirty for. And I'm like, at that time, I didn't care. But we were coming back from a promotion, and the program director came down to, we called it the pit, and he goes, our overnight guy can't make it in. He goes, are you okay with us throwing you on the air tonight? And I looked at him and I was like, what? Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, I'm just going to show you a couple of things. All you really need to do is press buttons. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound too hard. So I trained with him for a little bit, and then I came back in right at midnight. And then I went on the air until 6 a.m. until the morning show came in. And that's when I went, I think I could do this.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the first song you played was? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. It was a long time ago, Stephen. It was a long time ago.
Well, I remember mine was Friends and Lovers by Gloria Loring and Carl Anderson from the show Days of Our Lives. So back on September 13th, 1986. So there you go.
Oh my gosh.
So you catch the bug.
I did.
Catch the radio bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I was like, okay, do I still want to do this? I'm not really sure. And at the time, I was trying to make a decision whether or not I wanted to continue with school or if I actually wanted to start pursuing a career in radio. And it wasn't a couple of months after they put me on the air, I was offered my full-time job. And they're like, it's, Sunday through Friday, from 12 a.m. until 7 a.m. And I'm like, I think I could do this.
Those are quite the hours.
It was tough.
Yeah.
That overnight shift was tough,
Yeah.
especially trying to manage, school at the time. And so I was just like, show up to class and be like, what? Can't keep my eyes open.
That's definitely a young person's game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. How long did you do that for?
Overnights, a couple of years. Yeah. And then I was offered the night position shortly after at a competing radio station.
Oh, very good.
So I made the bounce from one radio station to another.
Yeah.
And at the time, no compete clauses weren't even a thing.
Right.
So that was not an issue. It was easy for me to make that pivot.
They really aren't a thing now either, are they?
I am so far out of the game, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. But I even the ones that we signed back in the day, I don't think really are either,
I don't think
to
you
be
could,
honest.
yeah.
But they're definitely enough to scare you into
Sure.
not doing anything.
Right.
Because I think now, actually, if you sign a non-compete, the station that makes you sign it has to pay you through the time of the non-compete.
Really?
Because, well, you have to get paid, or somebody has to pay you, or something, because you can't, or whatever. I don't know. There's some rule in Washington State about that. So
Well, because we're a right to work state.
yeah.
So I can't imagine. I don't know. It could be different everywhere. I mean, you hear that with TV, right? And I had to experience a little little downplay there for a little while.
You
Six
did,
six
yes.
months.
Well, we're so and then you were in Spokane,
Right.
doing radio,
Yep.
and then you come to Seattle.
Well, I forcibly came to Seattle. I bothered you. I called you. See, so what's funny is Steven's not telling you is there was a position for a traffic reporter within Metro Networks at the time. And Steven was the, I don't even know what.
Director of operations.
Yeah, director of operations. And I so desperately wanted that opportunity. And I would call him every day and leave him a voicemail saying,
True story.
"Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm in Spokane. I would love to come and work for you. What do you need? I'm sending you my resume. I have audio of me as a DJ, but not as a traffic reporter, or not a very good traffic reporter. I pretended like I knew what I was doing." And then finally you gave in. I came over, I did an interview, and then it wasn't but a couple months later that you offered me a position.
Yeah, what's interesting is that you have to do that. Even I think to this day, you know, I was talking to my kids recently. It's like they applied for something. And it's like, well, you have to follow up. You know, you have to do that. And I still think that there's no question that if you just send a resume once, there would have been no other conversation, because it's like you don't really care or whatever.
It's like I'm just doing it for doing it.
Yeah. It's I wish that people would take that approach in dating. I really want to date you or whatever. And you know, if you're interested, you know, you're always welcome to reach out to me. But anyway, but that's what it is. It's like the persistence of it, and it's but it's also, you know, there was talent behind it as well. So it's not like you just got a job because you were persistent about it. It was like there was talent, and I think people, when you get interviewed, they can see that, and so that's kind of what does that. So when you moved to Seattle, and you're doing a split shift, right, at that time?
Yep, you had me in the morning and in the afternoon.
And were you in the plane at that time, or no? Not yet.
The only time I did plane work was filling in for somebody, so like Steve Sanders or whatnot. So
Steve Sanders,
or was it? Wait, isn't that
Paul?
his name?
Maybe Paul.
No,
Todd?
Paul had his own airplane.
Oh. Might have been Steve Sanders.
I think it was Steve Sanders.
I totally forgot about that name. Wow. Anyway, so you were doing traffic at Metro Traffic in Seattle from the top of the Columbia Tower. Yeah. Do you remember what stations you were on at that time?
I was on Cube 93. I was on 95.7. I also did Mitch in the Morning, and one other one. I think it was KVI. I think.
This is where it gets a little fuzzy for me, so okay. I apologize if I don't remember exactly. How long did you do a split shift?
Most of my career.
Most of it. Yeah, most of your career.
Right.
Even when you went to TV.
Yeah. Even on TV, but for radio.
How long were you at Metro Traffic? Maybe that's a better question.
Oh boy. I want to say 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, and then you went to...
I went back to Spokane because I got a TV job.
Okay.
I did weather for Creme too, and then weekend weather.
And that was your first TV job?
That was my first TV job. And then I did nights for the country station.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Yeah, and so that was, so is that a situation where you're persistent in calling them every day and all that kind of stuff?
No, actually, it was, there was an opportunity to come home and I applied for it. I liked living in the big city, but then there was a part of me that was like, I don't like driving back and forth to see my family. And so I kind of got tired of that. And then I'm like, you know what? It was fun and it was expensive to live in the big city. And I wasn't making a whole lot of money. So I needed to take that pivot and then and see where that would take me. And ironically enough, with working at the TV station over in Spokane and the radio station, I was recruited by somebody from a bigger radio company, which ended up getting me a job on the East Coast. So I left Spokane and I went to Alabama and North Carolina, did a couple of years over there. And then when the opportunity came up to come back to Seattle and work traffic, I jumped on that. I was not happy over on the eastern side of the States. I mean, it was just I don't know. It was such a different vibe for me. And when you live in West Coast all your life, or not all your life, but a good chunk of your life, you become accustomed to that way of life, And I made some great friends when I was out there, but I was ready to come home.
So you came home, and where were you at when you came home?
I'm back on KJR.
Yeah.
I'm back on Mitch in the Morning.
Yeah. And so you were exclusively working with them at that time?
I was hired by Clear Channel, yes.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's where I believe you were in that position. You were
at Clear Channel?
You were at Clear Channel, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Because I remember you calling and saying...
We built out the studios
Right.
at the Clear Channel. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And I was working, and they had brought me in for the T-Man show.
Yep.
Okay. So you come back and you're doing the Mitch in the Morning stuff,
Yep.
and there's a lot to go over there, obviously. So how was that? How is that? Is it the greatest part of your career, or do you think it's the
one
pivotal part?
I think it was the pivotal part. I think that's where I became more of a household name. There is one thing that I can take away from my life and my career with Mitch and Fish and Sandmeyer and Sears and Bob, all of them. I had some of the most fun. I mean, it truly wasn't work. It was actually a lot of fun. I had developed a really good friendship with Mitch over those years too, where I knew I could trust him, I could lean on him, and he was that quintessential big brother that I really liked him. I thought he was a good human.
How many years were you on the show?
7 years.
7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then wasn't that just the greatest time to be on the air in Seattle? Like all through, the mid 90s to that kind of era.
It was like, when did it pivot? It was like 90. When did Obama get elected? Do you remember?
2008, or was it before then?
It could have been before.
2008.
Yeah.
2008.
And I think that's when, because my life changed in 2008 through Clear Channel when he was elected, because it was the day of his inauguration. It is so burned in my memory. It was the day that Clear Channel had said, either you work just this piece, because we're not going to have you work in the afternoons anymore. And I worked with Graz and Gas forever too. I mean, you
did a split shift for a long time.
Yeah.
Split shift is the morning show and then the afternoon show. And is that like a killer? I mean, or do you just used to it, or how does...
I had to get used to it. I mean, that was my salary, I really didn't have a say in any of that. I mean, I would lobby for a change so I could have a full straight 8, but that was just not on the radar. And in all respect, though, I really didn't mind so much because I was on some great shows too,
For sure.
And that's the thing. It's like, you have some great people that you work with. You don't want to miss out on those opportunities. I mean, in the afternoon, I worked with Eric Powers, and he was fabulous to work with. And then, and Graz and Gas, man, they were kick. They were so much fun. I had so much fun on sports for so long. It was...
Funniest Eric Powers story is when he fired me. I think it's...
Oh,
it's
no!
Just, I mean, he's so great because he's such a nice guy, great guy, and I mean, I see him around. We talk all the time. I have no issue with Eric, but it was just so funny when he was, you could tell he was like cowering. He was like, I don't want to do this. They're making me do this, but it's like, dude, just do it, just do it. But I want to hear you say it. So, just
Oh gosh.
And then when I got fired from KMPS, it was the first time the program director had really talked to me and complimented me on my work. I said, "Oh, you're firing me today?" And he goes, "Yes." And I'm like, because he came in, he says, "Oh, that was a great show today." And I was like, "Wait a minute, this is not right." So, but it's just kind of funny how all of that plays out.
What's also really funny though is when people ask you about when you separate from a job, right? They're like, "Well, how did that go down? Did that, was it mutual? Was it, whatever?" And it is common in this industry. It is common that it happens all the time. The station or the program director or even the company decide to go in a different direction, and you just don't fit within the parameters of what they want. So you have to respect that. You don't have to like it, but you have to respect that.
It's it's funny because like my mom will say, well, why do you talk to those people at King 5 the way they treated you? And I'm like, listen, I have no issue with it because they look at it as a certain way. And it's like, we have full-time people that could be doing the job that you're doing. And I'm like, I totally get that. It's not against me getting fired from some jobs. I mean, there are some times where it's probably like impactful or there's a reason behind it or whatever. But in this industry, I mean, you and I have a unique thing here where we have experienced that. We also know that we do a great job and that it's not really a personal thing. But we also, one thing I was going to get to is that we are very lucky because of the personality-driven radio shows that we were able to do in the time that we were able to do it.
Right. Yeah, because it's not that way anymore.
No.
It really isn't. And if you listen to terrestrial radio now, it is not as lively. It is not as, it just doesn't feel fun and it doesn't feel genuine.
Well, that's the thing. It's not genuine. That's the main issue I have.
Yeah.
So, and I always say, and this is the same with probably Mitch too, is that on our show, you would live and die. Some days were not great. Some days were really good. But we weren't like pre-recording bits and doing all of this kind of stuff. You lived and died by whether it was a good show, and luckily people stayed around to listen to see if it was good or not. So that was fun. So what in that era, what are you most, not overall, but when you're on Mitch in the Morning for as long as you were in Graz and Gas, what are some of the things that like you're like, man, that was so cool that I was involved in that? Is there some event or something that stands out?
The Bigger Dance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Bigger Dance was one, I think, and truly, you look at it now and it's not
Tell
good.
people who don't know what.
So, okay, the Bigger Dance was essentially your NCAA tournament, but with women. And so you would put women head to head, and then people would call in and vote for their favorite woman to move on to the next match.
Yeah, it'd be like Taylor Swift versus Sabrina Carpenter,
right,
or something like that.
Yes, and then they would call in, and then the person with the most votes would move on to the next round. And it's the NCAA tournament, but with women. Not PC now. Like you could never do this.
Today.
No, you could never do this now. But it was fun. Like the amount of production that went into it, the research that we would do on the women to, do the brackets and whatnot. It truly was fun. Like it was fun radio.
And you had so many people participating in it as well.
It was ridiculous how many people. And it wasn't just Seattle. It was nationwide. People really wanted to participate in it. And then it kind of fell off, obviously. What was the other thing that we did that was really fun? Graz and Gas always had their radiothon. And that was so much fun it was like just as you came into summer. And the guests that they would have, everybody from like Holmgren to like every sports person would come through and do a really cool donation. And that was truly some of the best radio.
So during the radio time, was there somebody that you were very excited to meet? Like you were Twitter pated sort of, it's like, oh my, I mean, because we meet a lot of people in the business, but it's like this one stood out to me.
I think it was when I finally got an opportunity to meet Mike Holmgren.
Yeah.
As a lifelong Seahawk fan and watching him on the sidelines and whatnot, and just being able to have a conversation with him in a studio, I was like, oh, wow, you're really cool. Yeah. Outside of, what I see on every Sunday on TV. And the fact that he went out of his way to know who I was too. So that made me believe that there are good people. I mean, just because you're super famous and whatnot doesn't mean that you have to be arrogant. You're actually a down-to-earth person, and you can be, friendly.
When you were out and about today, and we'll get to the elected official stuff in a minute, but how do you feel? Do people still come up and talk about Mitch and Graz and Gas and stuff like that?
They also talk about my time on TV, right?
Yeah,
I mean, after I had left Mitch's show, 7 years on that show, and I was given an opportunity to really change the trajectory of my career. It was like, okay, let's find something bigger and better. And at the time, I had an amazing news director, Mark Grinther, approach me, and he listened to Mitch every day. And he's like, he called the studio one day, and he was like, I don't know how to get a hold of you other than to call right here. And I was like, I thought it was a joke. I hung up on him a couple of times. I'm like, whatever. But then I was given that opportunity. I came and I did a test, a screen test for them. And then it was like 3 weeks later, he had asked me to come and be a part of the morning show. And so, yeah, that was
on King 5. Yeah,
Yep.
Mark was great. And so then radio was done.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you started doing traffic on Channel 5.
Yep.
How long were you at Channel 5?
7 years, 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
Built some great friendships there and a following. And I think why people resonated with you on the air was continuing just the genuine approach to things. It wasn't staged. It wasn't necessarily, and I don't mean scripted like prompter. I just mean it wasn't in a box like this is what you do because Tracy is this, right? It's the full personality.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the full personality is? I feel it's better. Do you think that in this day and age of what we see on TV, do we see that now?
No.
Yeah.
I
Why not?
I don't know. I truly don't understand that. I think, if you really want to connect with your audience, you have to be true to yourself and true to them. Like, I encompass the fact that I am a nerd. I love traffic so much. And still to this day, I do. I get called all the time, even from work people, like, hey, what's going on I-5? I'm like, I don't even do that anymore.
Yeah. But I'll research it and
But
I'll
I'm
let you know.
I will let me get back to you.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at things. Like, even my husband, he'll call in and be like, can you find out why there's this on I-5? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get right on that. But no, I think it's different. And again, it's always been in my mind, you really want to be true to yourself. And if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am true to who I am each and every day, no matter what it is, then there's something wrong there.
And the connection on the air, I think, between you and Rich Marriott, who does still to this day, surprisingly, not surprisingly in a bad way. I mean, why at this point?
He loves it, though.
He loves it. He does love it. And I love him, obviously, too, just like you do. But I think, the connection that you two had on the air, too, it shines through. And that's what's missing. I mean, they always say, what's going to get people to watch TV? And Rich and I would talk about it. You and I have talked about it. Other people that we all know collectively have talked about it. It's like there's no personality anymore, and and it's not like we want to know what you think about, the world politics. It's like we want to know what your kid was doing. We want to know those kind of things. We want those little anecdotal things in there, and that's what's missing. I mean, there's that connection that you two had. So you're at King 5 for a while. I don't know if you want to get into why you were not at King 5.
Well, it came down to my contract was up, and we couldn't negotiate. Like, there was just no negotiating there. I didn't want to work a split shift anymore because at the time I would come back when they had started an evening, show, like a 4:00 show. They were like, you can come back and do afternoon traffic. And anytime there was something big that would happen within the city, like the vice president was in town, the president was in town, there was some sort of something, then they would be like, you need to come back, and then you would work until, I'm like, but what people don't understand with a morning show, though, is that it's not like you just roll in at 4:30 when you go on the air. It doesn't work like that.
I did.
Well... Everybody's different, Steven.
I'm just kidding.
For me, it was, I'd get up at 1:15, 1:30. I was on the road by 1:50. It takes me, because I'm living in South King County, right? So it took me anywhere between 35 and 40 minutes to get in to the station. You have to build your own graphics. You don't have anybody doing that for you. You should go through and look at the emails from DOT, do your research to know what's happening within that day, on top of hair and makeup. And I love the misconception that you just roll in and whatever you're wearing and somebody does your hair and makeup. I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? No, you had to do your own hair and makeup.
Yeah, we missed those days. There's no people that do that kind of stuff.
No,
So,
not at all
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then wardrobe too. I mean, you'd have to think about what you're wearing and whatnot. It's harder for women, obviously.
Well, and I was going to get to that a little bit too, because I mean, I know that there's this one guy on TikTok or something like that who wore the same sport coat every day and just a different tie every day or something like that for a year. Nobody said anything. I mean, if you wear the same thing in a week or even maybe twice a month, you're going to get ridiculed for it.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless, you're going to get ridiculed. I got ridiculed all the time. I mean, it's been pretty consistent throughout, even like from radio to where I'm at right now in my career, especially as an elected. You get ridiculed for a lot of different things, whether what you say, out in public or on the dais, to what you wear. And to me, it's just like...
Is it mostly from women?
I get it from both. Yeah. I mean, primarily when I was on TV, it was from women. And it was like, you're too fat for that dress. Like, what are you thinking? I think my favorite was the favorite comment that I got was, you look like a sausage busting out of a casing. And I was like, well, at the time, I was pregnant. So I didn't know how to dress my body at the time, right? And so I'm like, okay, probably not appropriate. And then, of course, I fire back, and then that does kind of get me in a little bit of trouble. They don't want you to fire back at people.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that whole scenario, and I remember talking to some people about it, and it's just like, I learned so much about all of the stuff that women were getting. And there's I'm not going to say the name. I was talking to a few people at the studio, and it may not be related to your situation, but it's like, and one of the main anchors at King 5 was saying, oh yeah, I get, people sending me pictures of their, genitalia.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, you do? Like, you're the most respected person in this city. How is that even possible? And they're like, she's like, well, yeah, that's just how it goes. And I'm like, I certainly have gotten things, but nowhere. Right. I have like maybe 5 minutes of things compared to the days and days and days of stuff that you all have gotten. I can't even imagine. How does that affect your psyche, or is it just part of it?
I think it's just a part of it. I mean, you have this skewed sense of body image, right? You think you look good, but then somebody tells you don't. And then you're always in your head about how you look. And like the minute that camera turns on, you're like, oh gosh, is the fat sticking out? Is my shapewear smoothing everything out? All of the different things that you go through in that space. I've got to the point near the end of my career where I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm really tired of it. Because I'm trying to, my daughter was at the time also fighting with her body image, right? And I'm like, if I can't be comfortable in my own body, how can I tell or encourage my daughter to feel comfortable in hers? So that's when I was just like, I'm done with it.
But the interesting thing is that when you fired back in that whole situation, you were ahead of your time, because you could totally do that today and not have any issue.
And no repercussions.
No repercussions at all. Yeah. So that's so you're a trailblazer.
I don't know about that.
So thank you for setting the tone for everybody else.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think within corporate standards, you probably still can't do that. Who knows? But boy, I was done with it, and I didn't have anybody to defend me. They felt that it was appropriate, and I'm like.
And you went to Cairo for a while. How long were you there?
It's at Cairo for 5 years.
5 years, yeah. Okay. And then we have the elected part of your life,
right,
which is pretty exciting, right?
Sure.
An elected official.
Yeah.
You actually ran for office and you won. How awesome is that?
It was boy, what a challenge that was. I really didn't think that was going to happen for me, to be honest with you.
To do that, or to...
No, I had the ambition to do it.
Yeah.
I rolled out of TV and media into a public sector job, right? I am a public servant in different capacities. My regular day-to-day job, my full-time job, and now as an elected official, I'm still a public servant, right? I had enough with what was happening within my city and watching the current legislation really just pass the buck or kick the can down the road. And I was like, that's not what's best for this community. And as somebody that's more of a younger Gen Xer, I'm like, I want my daughter, when she goes away to college, wants to come back and settle roots within this community. And that was my whole driving force. I want her to leave college and come back and go, damn, my mom did something good for this place, and that still sticks in my brain. But now I look at my neighbors. Like in my neighborhood, I have all of these younger kids, everywhere from the ages of 4 up to 13. And it's like, what can I do to make their lives better? What do we need in this community? Do we need more parks? Do we need to, how do we make this better? And I looked at my husband and I said, I think I'm going to do this. And he was like, please don't. But I would say
I'm already done. I went through the media stuff.
Exactly.
And now I have to go through this.
Now he was like, he's like, please don't. And then the more that we talked about it, he's like, if this is where your heart is, then I support that. And so I'm like, all right, strap in, let's go. So, and that's what we did. We ran in 2023. I started my first term in office in 2024. And so I'm on my third year.
What is the role, in case people don't know?
I'm sorry. I'm a city council member for the city of Auburn, was elected by my peers as deputy mayor. So this is my first year as deputy mayor. It's only a 1 year, sit for that position. But it's an opportunity to really have a stronger and more voice into what we can do regionally with our partnerships with the state. And I advocate strongly for what I believe in and what I think was best for the community.
Yeah. Is there a ceiling for the political career?
I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought. I love being a council member right now because I love being able to, it's a touch point with people who supported me through my career as on TV, right? It's just another way to get out there and just be appreciative for all of the support that they gave me throughout those years. And now to be able to support them and be a stronger voice for them.
So during the campaign, I'm sure name recognition was helpful, but it also probably was a little bit of a problem, right?
A little bit. I mean, yeah, there was some things within the career, that were people would bring up and whatnot, but that's what it was.
You put Taylor Swift against Sabrina Carpenter? What is your problem?
What are you wrong
How could
with
you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Taylor Swift, right?
No, there's just a lot of things that were helpful, but I think if anybody took anything away from the 20 plus years that I did traffic within the city and this region, I would hope that they would see the person that I am, who genuinely cares about them, their lives, and their communities, right? That's the biggest thing for me.
You said the phrase that describes you best is leads with substance, not noise. What does that mean to you?
There is nothing but substance for me, right? And I don't cause a lot of noise. And there are people in this world that are really good at making a whole lot of noise, but they don't have a lot to offer. They can grand, flashy, all of the things, but there's no substance to it. They don't do their research. They don't do their homework. They're not familiar with, what to change, what change looks like. But they can make all the noise in the world. And I think I pride myself on that because I'm just a regular girl who loves her community and wants what's best for them.
And you are somebody who definitely goes all in for sure
Yeah.
in what you do, whether it's the traffic, whether it's the animals that you're fostering, and all of this stuff. And so I can see you as a very effective council person for the city of Auburn and whatever that ceiling is. I mean,
I don't know yet.
I'll vote for you for governor.
Well,
That's okay. So that's good.
I mean,
Well, it depends on who you're running against. But what, and you said you're most proud of the hard work that you've done, the public service. We've kind of touched on that a little bit, but you also said you're a competitive fisher. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah.
Fisher person?
Fisher person, I suppose. I So my husband and I, when we first got married, we talked because he was fishing a lot, and we talked about it. And I loved doing it when I was a kid. And over the years, we have enrolled ourselves in a lot of different competitions, Jack and Jill tournaments and whatnot. So we competitive fish during the summer when we have time. And
What are you fishing for?
bass.
And it's and excuse my ignorance on this. Is it how many fish you're catching? Is that
It's weight.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
weight. The total weight.
It's total weight.
Yeah, interesting. And so you've won competitions?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we've
nice.
won a couple.
What was the highest weight? Your weight class?
Oh, how many do we? Well, I don't pull in a lot of big fish. I pull in mediocre size. Kyle is trust me, you can go fishing with him and he'll pull them in no matter where you are. I think it was like we had at one point like almost 22 pounds in the boat. Yeah. So you have to have some really big fish. Because bass are not that big unless you're doing like, again, there's a difference. There's smallmouth bass and then there are largemouth bass. Largemouth bass are the bigger ones and they weigh more.
Well, Trevor's giving me the time here.
Yeah.
We've gone on longer than I thought. Crazy. It seems like it's only been 20 minutes, but it has been longer than that, and I know you've got to go here in about 5 minutes. But before we do that, we have rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I need to say something, but before you do that, promote yourself here into that camera of like where people can find you, or I don't know. Do you still do reels?
I mean, every once in a while.
Can they donate to your campaign or whatever?
Well, yes, you can definitely donate to the campaign
Can
if
you
that's what
get a
want
free
to do.
meal as an elected? Is that how it works?
No, you don't. No,
It's not like the old days when we used to say, hey, Azels, we're hungry, bring us some food.
doesn't work like that anymore. No, it doesn't work like that.
I wish it did, but it doesn't. But yeah, tell the folks how to get in touch.
So you can find me on all of the socials. On Facebook, you'll find me at Tracy Taylor Traffic because that's when I put that page together. I was doing traffic, but that's where I'm there. You can also find me on Instagram. That's Tracy Taylor Turner 2. And I'm still on, X, Twitter, whatever, and it's Tracy T. So there's
And
that.
what's your MySpace?
Oh, I don't have MySpace anymore.
I thought I was making a comeback. No?
I want it to make a comeback.
Yeah,
I
that
want the
was the
top
greatest.
8.
That
We
was
need to
the
have the
greatest.
top 8 in there.
I just remember on the radio we used to say, they would text me, check out their MySpace, and that's how we found out about the people who were calling the
Right.
show and all that kind
Exactly.
of stuff.
Now you have Facebook.
We should do another one just talking about all the stories from those shows.
Yeah.
That was something. So we do a rapid fire
Okay,
round.
let's go.
So what's your favorite drink of choice? And I don't necessarily mean alcohol, but if it is, that's great too. So,
Drink of choice.
coffee?
Yes, my coffee order is a cafe misto, soy milk, 2 pumps vanilla.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Of all time, Cheers.
Favorite TV show now? Since the way you hesitated there,
Now. Ooh, The Pit.
I like Shrinking. Should
Okay,
check that out.
everybody tells me that one.
Are you a planet person or a wing it person?
Planet.
What do you like to snack on?
Cheese.
What is the last thing? What do you want to be remembered for? How about that?
Being a good public servant. That's what ultimately I want to be remembered for.
And I know you have to run because you've got this political schedule. It's like we're on the Today Show. It's like we only
got
have
20
we only
minutes.
have Brad Pitt for 3 minutes. So but this is where we are. I would not have been on the television without Tracy Taylor. So I think that is what is awesome about that. She brought me in and said, "Hey, you should do this." And I came in and I was actually 50 pounds heavier than I am now, and
I don't believe it.
I was. Had a goatee and I looked terrible, and I remember seeing myself on camera thinking that, and they said, well, we don't have to put you on camera. I'm like, no, I want to be on camera, but it was just so funny because they were like, no, we love the content that you're doing and all of that, and it turned out to be okay, but then I think it ended up exploding when people were getting fired and they were like, oh, can you do weather? And I'm like, sure, I can fill 3 minutes, no problem. So that I credit you. I love you. You're one of my greatest friends of all time. I think it's just wonderful. Thank you for coming here and doing this. It's just been a great friendship for, you said 30 years. Can't possibly be
It is
that.
30 years.
28, maybe. Do the math. That might be right.
It is pretty.
How are we old enough?
I'm
to
not
have
really
that?
sure.
Yeah.
But we look good.
Yeah, well, we do look good, that's for sure. Is there anything we missed here? But thank you,
No.
Tracy.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at today in my career if it
Well, it's not. You're not supposed to say that.